Hey guys, welcome to Daily Dose Football channel, new channel. We're gonna be discussing about football and games that occurred. I would say like every day if I can keep it up with. Uh, First of all, yeah, I choose like to talk in the first episode of my channel is about Mexico team because as we know, in 2026, with Mexico, with Canada, and USA, they will be hosting the World Cup, and I see that among those three teams, the team that it's not, I believe, going nowhere and have no chance to go further in this World Cup, or at least I would say, if I'm gonna be a little bit harsh and say potentially not being able to bypass the first phase or group of stage in the next World Cup. And that team is Mexico because this team doesn't have a team for a World Cup, doesn't have the players that can compete on a high level, and the amount of delusion that the Mexican media have on the national team of Mexico, El Tricolor, is massive and outrageous. Uh, this Mexican team hasn't been performing good. They they were bad in the Copa America that was hosted last year in 2025 in USA. Yes, they were a little bit unlucky as they in the second game against Venezuela, they were a little bit dominating the Venezuelan team, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they missed a penalty at the last minute after, I think, due to I think Oberlin Pineda, if I'm not mistaken, he was the one who missed the last penalty, and they needed a win against Ecuador to be able to qualify to the second round of Copa America, and they came short, and they were able to do so. They finished with 4 points, winning against Jamaica, and then losing to Venezuela on the second game, and then drawing against Ecuador. And that was under the Jaime Lozano. I think the biggest mistake happened after that Copa America is the Federation of Mexican Football. They fired him, and it was good news, bad news. Good news because some people they were against him, and they were like, the media especially, they were like picturing Mexican team is the best team in the world, and they shouldn't like be able like to, yes, they are right about not being able to make it from the group stage, but they were like nowhere near to beat other teams that they were participating in that Copa America edition. I mean, they cannot beat the Uruguay, they cannot beat Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Ecuador, and then it shows up like they lost to Venezuela. So, having said that, some Mexican media they want him fired. Some Mexicans rational, they were like, well, let's give him a second chance. They went with the media, and the majority they were asking for him to be fired. And then they get El Vasco Aguirre. And Aguirre, Javier Aguirre, we know him one of the best coaches in the Mexican history. And he came after a good experience that he has like last 3 years in La Liga of Spain with Leganes. I would say between brackets, he relegated Leganes, and then he took over Mallorca, and then he has a very good how to say, a very good result with Mallorca, and then he ended up like not to be able to continue with Mallorca. I think it was a mutual separation between the two parts. And then the Mexican Federation, they called him and they assigned him as a head coach. It was like a good news. He had Rafa Marquez as his assistant, and then I forget the third person who is. But anyway, he started the El Camino with the Mexican team. I think that was the third time after amazing period he had it with them in 2002. Another wonderful period he had with them in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think that was the last time. I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if he had it like between the 2010 and 2025. But yeah, they appoint him as a head coach, and he started with a bad loss against Honduras, and then it was like very brutal. Even though he get like, it was brutal that like he got like a ball thrown on his face, and then he was bleeding at the end of the game. And that game was just a mess. And that game we could see the real Mexican team. Like, yeah, he was playing some players that they didn't play. He played Memo Ochoa as a goalkeeper instead of Malagon. We have seen some players that they didn't play, and then it was deserved. Honduras played good, and then they deserved to win that game. And after 3 days, they played back, and that was, I think, the CONCACAF Nation Cup, I believe. They played in Toluca, and they beat Honduras 4-0. And like the media, they were like hype, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we beat them. We are the best team. We are the best team. We have the best players. The Mexican league is the best league. It's producing the best players." Some of them even went far and said like, "We don't need those players even like to go to Europe. We have the best team in the Northern and Southern America, better than Brazil, better than Argentina, better than anywhere, better than MLS." So, and it was proven on March, where they beat, I believe, Panama in the final and Canada in the semifinal. And like they went like they were overhyped, and they are now, we are the best team. Nobody can stop us. But the reality check came in the Gold Cup. The first game against, if I'm not mistaken, that was Dominican Republic, and they barely beat Dominican Republic. And I was like watching the game, and then one of the guys, Mexican analyst I like, and he speak the truth, and he analyzed things with, not with his emotions, but with his brain. And his name is David Faitelson. And at the end of the game, he was with Ricardo Lavolpe, the another, yeah, if I say Javier Aguirre, one of the greatest coaches, and Lavolpe is one of the greatest coaches in the Mexican football. He said that we no tenemos un equipo para el mundial, which means we don't have a team for the World Cup. Despite they beat like Dominican Republic 3-2, but it was very painful. It was like a game of mistakes, defensive mistakes, uh, no quality on the holding mid, despite like they have Edson Alvarez. It was very bad game, to sum it up. And he said that, and then some of the analysts, they agreed with him, but like they changed their mind after they win the Gold Cup, and then they start hyping up. And I was like, yeah, like I think after watching the last game against Colombia, where they got like raped, if that's the right term, I would say raped, 4-0 versus Colombia, who didn't play Richard Rios, who didn't play John Arias, who didn't play like couple Davison chances. I think even like the Atlas goal of Camilo Vargas, he didn't play. Like 6 or 7 players, they didn't play for Colombia, and they still trash Mexico 4-0. A reality check for Mexican media, because I believe the Mexican fans, they agree with me that they don't have a chance to go further in the World Cup. And like, I don't want to be a pessimistic, sorry, but they don't even have a chance to bypass like the group stage. It's brutal, it's really bad, but call the things the way they are. When you see players, and that's the problem. It's not a problem of Javier Aguirre. Again, he's not responsible for that. The responsibility of that is the Mexican Federation of Football, and so the clubs. The clubs are responsible for that, because when you pay your local players outrageous salary amount, annual salary, high salary, that he cannot get that he will not get that if he goes to Portugal or Spain or France, and you gave him more than what they pay in Europe, of course you're gonna get that Mexican national team. How trashy it is. When you see them just like being hyped by those Mexican media, when you see someone say Kevin Alvarez is better than Hakimi, is better than Reece James, is better than Arnold's, when you see someone picturing Chiquito Sanchez as Zidane, when you see someone picturing Jorge Sanchez as Hakimi, when you see someone picturing Sepulveda as Ronaldo Nazario de Lima, when you see El Chaca Jimenez, yeah, he playing for AC Milan, but he's not that good. He's not that good, guys. He's not that good. He's a Toronto, guys. A Tronco. He's a Tronco. He's not that good, guys. And then you picture him as the best striker in the world. I mean, come on, guys. Mexican media, are you for real? Do you have a mind to think with when you guys come up with those statements? Like, I have no words for that. Where are you go? You guys are responsible for what you are seeing right now and what you are picturing right now during those exhibition games and even during the official games. Like if you go back and look at the game against Honduras in the semifinals of the Gold Cup, it was just pure luck. It was disaster. Against Saudi Arabia B team, not A team, B team in the quarterfinals, because the couple members of that Saudi Arabia team, they were with Al Hilal during the World Cup of Clubs. So the B team, you guys struggle against them for like 60 minutes. And you couldn't even generate the chances in the first half. And then struggling against USA B team in the finals. I mean, you have, at some points, you must have a reality check and then start auto-criticizing yourself. Are we for real a team? Are we a nation of football? Yes, Mexico is a nation of football. Without a chance. But when we go back to those World Cups, and I will go back like to 2006, where Mexico produces amazing football, even during the Confederation Cups a year ago, like in 2005, when they came short against Argentina in the semi-final, and they lost to them in the penalty kicks. If you see that team, you're gonna look back and then you're gonna see there was like Pardo, he used to play for Stuttgart. You have Ricardo Osorio, who was also like playing for a team in Bundesliga. You have Rafa Marquez, since 1998 playing for Monaco and now playing for Barcelona. You have a lot of players that Salcido, he was playing with the PSV and they're goose hitting, and that was a very good team of PSV back then because they were making it like to the semi-final, and they beat Olympique Lyon in the quarter-final of the Champions League. And when I'm saying Olympique Lyon back in 2000s, it was a team that terrified like the giant. And I can tell you, like, they beat Real Madrid, they beat Barcelona. It's a very good team. Olympique Lyon, Juninho, of Malouda, of Chris, of Reveiller, of Sidney Gouvou, Sonny Anderson, Toulalon, Jeremy Toulalon, Vikash Duraso. A lot of players, they were good with that like Olympique Lyon team at that time. So Salcido was playing for PSV. So many players. You have Guillermo Franco was playing for Villarreal with Riquelme, with Figueroa, with Marcos Senna, with Santi Cazorla, with a lot of players too. Like, and then you have a strong clubs like Cruz Azul and America that they were playing like in Copa Libertadores. So they go and they face the giants. Like if we go back to 2000, we have Club America made it like to the semi-final of Copa Libertadores, and they stupidly lost against, disqualified by Boca Juniors. And America was far superior like over Boca Juniors, but like Boca Juniors was able like to qualify because Water somewhere score a goal in America, and then they disqualified, and then Boca Juniors made it to the final and they won that Copa Libertadores. The next year it was Cruz Azul and they lost in the final in Copa Libertadores against almighty Boca Juniors of Carlos Bianchi, Riquelme, Chelo Delgado, Martin Palermo, or Oscar Cordova, and then you have like El Patron Bermudez, a lot of players. But you have like local team that they are playing in a high level, not only in the American Central America, but also in South America and Copa Libertadores. And then you producing players who are playing in Europe, like Salcido, Pavel Pardo, Ricardo Osorio, a lot of Gerardo Torrado. They were playing there, and then you have like a young team, that a new generation of Neri Castillo, and then Guardado, and a couple players. They're gonna come, Barrero, and they're gonna come and take over. So what I want to say is the highest Mexican team on level international. It's because like their player, they were playing in Europe. Who you have now playing in Europe? Jimenez with AC Milan. Yes. Is AC Milan a good team? No. With all respect to the history of AC Milan, because when I say is a good team, I made a comparison between the actual team and how it was historically. So when we talk about the history of Milan, AC Milan, and you compare it to this AC Milan right now, nowhere near. When was the last time AC Milan made it to the quarterfinal of Champions League? Years and years and years. So yeah, he plays for AC Milan. How many goals did he score? How was he last year when he came from Feyenoord? He was very trash. And this year, comme ci, comme ça. Yes, you have Raúl Jiménez. For me, is the best Mexican player right now. But like he's playing for Fulham. Yes, he's a very good team. Yes, he's playing in Europe. He is the only player with experience. Edson Alvarez, who take a step down going to Fenerbahce, with all respect to Fenerbahce, a team that can't even like make it to the Champions League. I mean, but you have to give them a kudos because like they took a next step and they want to go outside. Julian Quinones, I clap him for taking his steps and then trying to go out. Yeah, America received a very good bag of money from Al Qadisiyah in Saudi Arabia, but he's playing in yeah, I would say like the level of like Saudi Arabia league is higher than the Mexican league, with all respect. Because I watch the Mexican league and then sometimes I watch like Mazatlan, I watch Santos Laguna, and I watch like half of those teams. They are like the level is so low. So when America and Monterrey and Tigres and Cruz Azul and I'm not gonna say Pumas because they are trash. So those four teams, and then Toluca for sure. Toluca is the best team I think playing soccer right now in playing football right now in Mexico. But why we don't have like a Vega going out? Why why Ramon Juarez shouldn't go out and then play in Europe? Why a couple players like should go out, should leave. They need to leave. The result, I think, the solution for the Mexican football to become better as a national team and to get that hope is those players need to go and play in Europe. They need to play in a high level. I will even be harsh and say play in MLS because MLS is better than Mexican League. All respect. Because it has been proven in the Leagues Cup. Yeah, the Leagues Cup, like when you look at the Leagues Cup, the last two seasons, it was MLS team like trash in the Mexican teams. And I like in 2024, Monterrey couldn't even make it from group stage. So don't give me like the CONCACAF champion as what's the best league is. When you guys play in the Leagues Cup MLS versus La Liga MX, it was proven that MLS is better than La Liga MX. I mean, Tigres couldn't make it to the semifinal. Toluca couldn't make it. Club America was trash. Cruz Azul was trash. Like, what's going on? So if they cannot even beat the MLS teams in a Leagues Cup, how could they beat like Colombia? How could they beat like even Cape Verde? Cape Verde, who got qualified today from Cameroon, from a group of Cameroon and Angola, they got qualified today. They wouldn't beat Mexico play against Cape Verde will win. 100%. 100%. 100%. Because like it's obvious. You need to play on high level. And Cape Verde players, they are playing in the Portuguese league, they are playing in La Liga Portugal, they are playing in La Ligue 1 France, and they are playing in a high level, and that's why they were able like to dominate Cameroon and disqualify them. Well, I'm not gonna say disqualify them because Cameroon still have a chance. I believe they're gonna be playing in the playoffs, but they beat Cameroon, who has like good players like Mbemo with Manchester United, and then Anguissa with Napoli, and then couple good players. Onana, yeah, Onana questionable, but they still play at a high level. You have Malagon playing for America, and look what he did. Look at the fourth goal of Colombia, and that shows you like what I'm saying. And then you have Cesar Montes, and then the other player who plays for Genova. Like they are very bad. They are very bad defensively. And then you're relying on Eric Lira and Romo as a mid. Wow. I mean, Lira playing for national Mexican team. Wow. You guys now have like a very youth gold after the U20 World Cup where Mexico was, I think, made it to the quarterfinal and they lost to a strong team Argentina. But you need to pick players ASAP. And there is that guy, I think Garza, if I'm not mistaken. I saw him last year playing because I was watching Celtics, Glasgow, and they play against Dundee United. And then I saw him there, and then he was playing for them. He was very good. And that player, that Garza, he needs to be this holding mid for Mexico. You need to start playing him as a holding mid. Like there is no way Eric Lira should be playing in a national team. Yeah, you can play him with the B team. You can play him for those games in the CONCACAF Champions or qualifiers or whatsoever. But to play him like in a high stage, a player who doesn't even know how to tackle, he always commits fouls. He is very temperamental. He is very crazy, loco. No sé qué está haciendo. He doesn't even know how to defend. Like what quality is Javier Aguirre and Rafa Marquez are seen on Eric Lera as a holding mid? It's really bad. It's really bad. The future is dark for El Tricolor. Yes, oh, we were playing with no Gilberto Mora. He's 16 years old. And Gilberto Mora needs to leave Mexico. He shouldn't go to America. He shouldn't, like, the Football Federation of Mexico should be involved into this, should be involved. I don't want to see Gilberto Mora goes to America. If America plays a bid to Tijuana or like Cruz Azul or Tigres or Monterrey plays a bid for Gilberto Mora, no. Gilberto Mora should go to Europe. And when I saw should go to Europe, he doesn't need to go to Real Madrid. He doesn't need to go like to Barcelona. Go to Villarreal. Go to I would say like go to Sporting. Go to Benfica. Go to those teams. They're gonna give you a chance to explore yourself. Go to Porto and play with your cousin Rodrigo Mora. And go to like don't go to England, but go like to Spain or France or like I would say Italy, because I don't want him to go to England because it's too physical for him. Go to it like where you're gonna raise tactically, like in Italy, or you're gonna raise your talent in Spain or in Portugal, which is I believe like if you play for like Vitoria Guimarães even or Sporting Braga, those 5 teams. Gilberto Mora, si estás escuchando, mi español es muy peor, pero si quieres salir de México y tienes que salir de México, necesitas que ir a Portugal o España o Italia o Francia, ¿por qué no? Pero no quedas en México. No tienes futuro como jugador. Si te vas a jugar para la América o Cruz Azul o los Rayados o los Tigres, no tiene futuro. You need to leave Mexico. The same thing for Padilla. I like him. I like him since last year when I watched Chivas against I think Puebla, and they lost to Puebla, and because they play in Puebla. Padilla was very good. He was very talented. He was the one making the runs. He was like agile. He was moving everywhere, and I really liked him. And I salute Garza for leaving and playing. Huescas too. He went to and Gilberto. If I was you, Mora, I would go like even to Norway with playing for that Bodo Glimt team. They are a very good team, well coached. Don't look at the money. And I wish for Los Chulos, Tijuana, the team of Tijuana, please don't put a high price on Gilberto Mora. You can involve like a 25% or like 30% or 50% resale, but give your player a chance to play somewhere in Europe. for the good for you and the good for the Mexican football and the good for the national team El Tricolor. Because other than that, it's just gonna go downhill. And if Gilberto Mora goes to the big team, I'm not saying like he's gonna fail, but we have seen what happened to Giovanni Dos Santos. Giovanni Dos Santos is like a biggest example. Boyan. You remember it was Giovanni Dos Santos and Boyan Kirkic? Where is Boyan? Where Boyan did play after that? And what Giovanni Dos Santos did after that? Where did he play? Did he play at a high level? Yeah, so please make a good decision, wise decision to where to go. You are La Joya, you are like a germ, you are like a talented player. I like you. As a Moroccan Canadian, I like you. And I saw you play in a Gold Cup. You were playing better than like those scumbags playing for America and Cruz Azul whatsoever, even playing in a national team right now. But please, this is for for those Mexican clubs. You need to release your players and let them go to Europe. If you get like offer for 1, 2, 3 millions, sell him. You're gonna become like a team. You're gonna become a team that produce a lot of players, and that's message especially for Pachuca, who has the best academy in Mexico with Chivas. Stop selling your players to America, Cruz Azul, and Tigres, and Los Rayados de Monterrey. Sell them to Europe. Send them to Europe. It doesn't matter if they're gonna play in Wales, or they're gonna play in Scotland, or they're gonna play somewhere else. At least they will have a chance where they can become better and raise more learn a lot about tactics, learn more about things that they are not learning in Mexico, and they won't have a chance to learn it in Mexico. Because when you sell your player to America, they have other players that they have bought them from Spain or whatsoever from Southern America, and they're gonna remain in the bank. They're gonna stay in the bench. Vas a quedar en el banquillo y no vas a jugar. Y perdona mi español, pero es la verdad. Esos jóvenes tienen que salir de México e ir a Europa para ganar la experiencia y la competencia de verdad, no la misma competencia que en México o la Liga MX. So the solution there is 8 months. It can be 12 months, because there is a chance that the World Cup can be played until December. There is a speculation and rumors about that the World Cup will be hosted until like 2025 December, like they did in Qatar. So they are studying, and you never know, decision can be made like soon. So you have, at worst case scenario, you have 8 months. Should you fire Javier Aguirre? I don't know. I have no concrete answer for that, because when you are making a decision, you look at the factors why I should be taking this decision. And the factor of like the Mexican national team not playing that good, it's not Javier Aguirre, it's a structure. It's the base. And the base, it's founded by the Mexican Federation and the rules of the clubs. And the clubs are destroying the Mexican national team, to be honest, with their policies, with the way how they are overpaying the players. Like when Pachuca get like 12 million euros for Kevin Alvarez, and then you have Sporting paying 5 millions for Kevin Alvarez, of course I'm gonna sell it to Club America. right? It makes sense. But why? Look at Kevin Alvarez, how he was with Pachuca. He was one of the best, if I'm not saying the best, right backs in Mexico. I really like him. But when you look at him in America, he is one of the trashiest player because he didn't develop himself. He didn't get things that he needs to get better. Like if you see one thing, I believe the America fans, they are looking at Kevin Alvarez. He is very wrong with his decisions. He doesn't make the correct decision, and he's very late in crossing. So if he went to Europe and he play in Portugal, Liga Portugal, or like Spain or everywhere in Europe, they're gonna fix those mistakes that he's making, and he's gonna develop himself, and he's gonna get better. So there is no room for improvements, no room for improvements. And then look at Lainez. Like Lainez, he came back to Mexico. Also, the mentality of the Mexican players, it's very trash. They are not built very hard. They always like feel homesick, and then I'm gonna get like 4 millions from America, and I'm gonna eat like tacos, and I'm gonna dance, go to the nightclubs. Obviously, that's not gonna help. The clubs needs to be very vigilant with that. They need to be like they need like to control the lifestyle of a player, implement fines. Like if you go this, if you do that, like you get 4 millions. If you do that, I'm gonna get 1 million from your annual salary, and then like show him, set him as an example for the other players who are about to try to do the same thing. So this is what I'm thinking. This is like it's a structure between the mentality of the Mexican player, the Liga MX clubs, and then the Mexican Federation. 8 months. I don't think firing Aguirre will resolve that if you don't get your players playing in Europe. You need to invest in your U20, give them room of playing, time of playing, sell them to Europe, don't sell them to the Mexican League. Some people say, yeah, we can bring Antonio Mohamed from Toluca. He's very good coach. I like Antonio Mohamed since he was with the Colon Santa Fe and he was coaching there. I remember in 2010 because I love Boca Juniors, and he really improved that team, Colon Santa Fe. And then he was very good with Monterrey, and then he was very good also. I believe he has experience with Celta Vigo in Spain, and he was good there. And now we saw the quality of football that they are playing in Toluca. But is he gonna change? But we saw him when playing against in the League Cup against against how to say against the MLS teams. Yeah, it was a little bit shaken, right? It wasn't that good. It wasn't that enough. Defensively, it's not that good. So, is Antonio Mohamed can improve? Yes, he can improve the Mexican team, but can they take them like to the next stage of level, the next level of improvement? I don't think so. You have to call it. You have to call it like 100%, and you have to say things the way they are. You cannot you cannot hide in front of what is visual and what we have seen in the last 6 months. You played against a half team of Colombia, you lost 4-0. You play against Switzerland, you lost 4. You played against Turkey, you got lucky. Yeah, you got lucky because you scored like from 4 opportunities. Turkey has like the major opportunities on that game, and you beat them. And then that triumphal, that win, it's overhyped the Mexican media. And Mexican media, you are guys responsible for what's happening. You guys are the number one responsible. The Football Federation and the Mexican clubs are responsible too for what's happening for a tricolor and the national Mexican team. And then it comes to Javier Aguirre and Rafa Marquez and his technical staff. Mexico, that's all for me today, and I hope I talk. Maybe I touched what's going wrong with the Mexican league or Mexican national team, and I wish you all the best. As I said, I'm a Moroccan Canadian, and I love you guys. Arriba Mexico.